In life, we fully expect when tragedy strikes or something happens, we lose a relationship or someone passes or we get that bad news from the doctor or maybe we suffer some kind of financial catastrophe, we fully expect that after that we're going to be less than happy. We're going to be distraught. We're going through a season of difficulty. You expect it, the dread, the anxiety, the fear, all that comes along with a tragedy like that makes sense. But what happens when you have the aftermath feelings? The anxiety, the fear, the depression, the sadness. What happens when you have that, but you didn't have the tragedy? That's exactly what I had. When I finally met the wall of my difficulty, I set out to try to figure out how I could make a change. Sometimes when we're at the end of our rope, it's that very moment where we decide to do things that we wouldn't have done otherwise. It's when your husband comes in and says, I'm not happy with our marriage, that we start working on our marriage. When the doctor finds a lump, that you start concerning yourself with your health. When you have a heart attack, you make the decision that you're going to start exercising and eating better. For me, it was a moment where my dark days began to outnumber my bright days, and the stress and the pressure of work and the fear and anxiety of tomorrow began to dominate my life. I had this sense of dread consistently. And so I began a journey of trying to figure out what's wrong and what do I need to do. And the more people I talked to, the less answers I felt like I had confidence in. And so as a pastor, you're supposed to have answers. And I did. I had answers for everybody else, but it didn't seem like that I had the answers, or maybe I wasn't willing to practice the answers that God had already given me. And so I set out on a journey. For me, God didn't give me a single answer in this journey. He didn't just say, take this one step and everything's going to be better. In fact, He didn't give me even a 3-step process that if you do these 3 things, everything's going to be great. That's what I wanted. Doesn't everybody want a quick start guide to how to have things be better in your life? But I didn't get that. What I did get, though, was I got a journey where I began to look at my life through a different lens. I began to look at my circumstances, and I began to look at what was going on and what was happening to me in a different way. And what God began to show me was not only what I was going through was an issue, but how I was going through it was an issue. And God taught me about my life, but more than that, and most importantly, He taught me about Himself. And so what I decided to do is I decided to write a book. And that's exactly what I did, More Than Happy. It's a book that, for me, is much more than just a book. It's a book of my own journey. It's not 3 steps to happiness. It's not a practical guide, a quick start guide to becoming happy again. But in fact, what it is, it's a journey to finding the center of what your life should be focused on. And for me, it wasn't just one step. In fact, it's an ongoing process of constant amendment, but focusing once again on what's really matters. It's the title of the book's More Than Happy. And the reason why I gave it that title is because I wanted happiness and I grasped it, but I just couldn't hang on to it. I would find myself happy at one moment to be completely distraught and sad in another. And I really had no reason sometimes for feeling the way that I felt. And so I set out to figure out what was wrong. And I feel like that God gave me some clarity on some things that maybe, just maybe, I can help you understand some things even in your own life. And so I share this with you. My book is available on Amazon. I really believe that it can be a help and a blessing to you. And I hope that it is. I would love to hear your story, and I'd love to hear about your journey. Sometimes when we have these kinds of feelings, we feel really, really alone. Depression and anxiety and fear make us isolated, and it makes us feel like we're the only ones going through what we're going through. But I'm going to assure you that you're not. After having sold thousands of copies of this book and had hundreds of conversations, I'm convinced that many more of us are struggling with these types of issues than I ever knew of. I thought I was by myself on an island, but I wasn't. In fact, I was in a village full of people who were feeling the same thing, but we just didn't have a way to have the conversation. And I think this book gives us a platform to have the conversation about depression, about sadness, about anxiety and fear. My prayer is that this book really blesses you.